All right, welcome to the first unit. I'm going to go quickly through this, spending most of my time on the immune system for you. This is available to you as your PowerPoint, both narrated like this and non-narrated, so you'll have plenty of time to look at this. Notice the objectives, and here's the table of the leading causes of death. I'm not going to spend much time on this. You can look at it and see what's going on. Sorry, it's taking me a while to go through these. Here's some basic information and pertinent definitions. Review the meaning of homeostasis. That's very important for maintaining the health of the human body and any body. Physiology, of course, is the study of the function. Disease means really a lack of homeostasis, a lack of equilibrium. Pathophysiology is the study of the processes that lead up to disease, and pathology is actually the study of disease in general. Make sure you know these definitions. Again, major causes of disease are listed here. We will take a look at inflammation, autoimmunity, and allergy as part of the immune system functions, and some diseases that are related to these various abnormalities. All right, this shows you some other important definitions, signs and symptoms of diseases, what is meant by a sign, what is meant by a symptom, and what is a syndrome. Again, just definitions. And in order to assess disease, we need to diagnose. That's what medical practitioners do. They look for the signs and symptoms and look for a syndrome and then try to make a diagnosis. What is going on? And to diagnose literally means to go through all of your knowledge. This defines what a syndrome is, many manifestations of a disease. These are some objective evidence. How do you know that somebody has a disease? There are little film clips listed in Moodle that will tell you about some of these, how to take a family history, what some of the various lab tests are. So please avail yourself of those later on. This describes some other important definitions. Again, I'm not going to go through this. You can read this. Stages of disease, outcomes. These are important definitions to know. And here is the etiology, or how diseases develop, how they are studied, how they are defined, what they mean, and so forth. So make sure you know the difference between morbidity, mortality, what is meant by idiopathic, etc. Here are some risk factors. What do we mean by a risk factor? It could be genetic. It could be some environmental problems or some environmental contaminants. We will be looking at that in a later section of our course. How diseases are treated. And again, not all diseases are curable. Most are treatable, or at least to relieve symptoms and or pain. All right, now I'm going to spend a little bit more time on immunity because I think this is a little bit complicated for some students. First of all, what is immunity? It is the ability of the body to defend itself against infectious agents, foreign cells, and abnormal body cells, which in some cases includes different types of cancer. There is both innate immunity, which are non-specific defenses. These will really happen anytime you are exposed to a foreign antigen, a foreign object. Specific defenses or acquired immunity involves prior exposure, either by the disease agent itself or perhaps by a vaccination, and involves specific defenses and memory. All right, this is a general diagram of the immune response. This shows you some of the things that can happen when a virus, for example, which is a foreign agent, enters. A nonspecific line of defense will be the mobilization of macrophages, of large phagocytic cells, and also killer cells. B cells and T cells are often more specific and require memory. So you will see the difference as we proceed through this. All right, this is some types of immunity illustrated. either natural immunity when you're either exposed to the antigen, or perhaps you received immunity in the womb from the mom, or if you are being nursed, or acquired immunity could be via an vaccination or via serum that contains antibodies from another source. Here is inflammation, which is a non-specific innate response that will occur any time we are exposed to a foreign antigen. So these are some of the aspects of immunity and what can happen, involving tissue trauma and then release of histamine, could be your exposure to bacteria, fungi, or virus, and this explains some of the aspects that will happen. Most of this is covered in your book. Here are some agents that are capable of stimulating an inflammatory response. Again, this is innate immunity. This is non-specific immunity. It will happen every time. It does not involve memory. It does not require prior exposure. So these are some of the agents that can cause the immune response, or the inflammatory response. And this shows you, for example, a dirty nail, perhaps with bacterial or viral particles, and what will then happen as this dirty nail punctures the skin. These are all available for you to review. I want you to be clear about the differences between non-specific defenses, which involve innate defenses. So it incorporates the following: physical and chemical barriers such as mucous membranes or intact skin. It involves phagocytosis by large white blood cells. Leukocytes are large white blood cells. They are natural killer cells, and they react non-specifically and without memory. So anytime you are exposed, fever is actually beneficial to some degree because it will stimulate the action of these phagocytes. And there are other chemicals, interferons, which boost immunity, and inflammation helps to really wall off the infection. All right, natural immunity is part of our innate immunity, is not specific to a particular disease, and does not require prior exposure. Again, I'm repeating this over and over a little bit so that this will be clear to you. And again, as I said, it occurs whenever a foreign invader enters the organism. Now here's more of a specific immune response that we're going to take a look at now. A disease-causing agent are called antigens, and they stimulate the immune response. There are two different distinct processes: humoral immunity, which is also called antibody-mediated immunity, which is facilitated by B cells, and cellular immunity, which generally occurs in response to infections inside of a cell rather than throughout your vascular system, and also called cell-mediated immunity, which is facilitated by T cells. And this shows you visually an antigen, which is a foreign element, enters the body, and either the humoral immunity will be stimulated and produce antibodies, and or cell-mediated immunity for those infections within the cells. Lymphocytes, white blood cells, will be activated in both cases, either B cells, which produce antibodies, or T cells, which are involved in cell-mediated immunity. Different types of lymphocytes: the T lymphocytes, which mature in the thymus gland, are involved in cell-mediated immunity, and these are some of the different types of T cells. Cytotoxics just means they will destroy other cells. Helper T cells enhance the work of other T cells, and suppressor T cells are also involved in the conclusion of the immune response, we could say. B lymphocytes are involved in producing antibodies. You will need to review this. This is an overview for you. Cellular immunity, which is part of the specific immune response, as I mentioned before, involves the production of T cells and natural killer cells. And these defenses are called cytotoxic because they kill other cells. They destroy them to keep them from spreading disease. Let's go on. This is an illustration of the T cell response. This is a little bit beyond the detail of this course, but I think it's very interesting to see it in graphic form, and you can go to the website I have listed and you can get this and other information as well. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on it. This just shows you that when a foreign invader enters the body, that the T cells are mobilized and will do their job and what they do. Again, humoral immunity, we're going back and kind of reviewing and repeating, is the antibody production aspect of the specific immune response. I should mention that all of the immune responses, whether it's specific, non-specific, natural, or acquired, or cellular, or humoral, all really work together to defend the body. We're just dividing this up to make it a little bit easier, and I hope it is for you to visualize. All right, so this is a B cell response. Again, you can go to the website for more detail about this. It's a little bit beyond the scope, but I really like these diagrams for you to get a little bit more detail if you want it. Acquired immunity is, again, the body's response to a specific pathogen. You can get it either passively when you receive protective substances like antigens from another individual, or I should say antibodies from another individual, or active acquired immunity when you are exposed to the pathogen. Immunizations and vaccinations will help you to acquire this active immunity. All right, I should end with a little bit of a typical allergic reaction, because this is one aspect of the immune system. And oops, I don't want to belabor this. I'm trying to make this a little bit simpler for you. There are one type of immunoglobulin is specifically active in allergic responses, which is called immunoglobulin E, or IgE. I think I'm just going to go rather quickly. Just to mention, though, that people can have, let's say, an overly done allergic response that can cause anaphylaxis, and that can be fatal. It can cause hypotension or low blood pressure and shock, because virtually blood rushes out of the capillaries into interstitial fluids, and smooth muscles contract and can cause respiratory distress. So take a look in your text about a little bit about anaphylaxis or anaphylactic shock. And here are some of the sequences of events that will occur in anaphylactic shock. Let me go back. This is acting kind of dippy. Here we go. So these are the various aspects that I would like for you to look at. Autoimmunity is when the body reacts to its own tissue as if it were a foreign antigen. Take a look at that. This week also you will be looking at some autoimmune diseases such as systemic lupus erythematosus. And this is what that looks like. There's lots more to review. I'm not going to go all the way through this because I'm running out of time. I just want to break these up into 15-minute sequences. Be sure you do go all the way through the PowerPoint. Much of it is based on your textbook. I reorganized a bit to make it a little easier. There's lots more references on this week's Moodle page for Sjogren's syndrome. That's another disease to take a look at as well, another autoimmune disease. We will also be looking this week at infectious diseases as well. So there's much in your book about infectious diseases. All right, have a great week. Make sure you message to me anytime you have a question. The sooner the better. I'm just ending a little bit with the HIV virus, which of course causes AIDS, or is responsible for causing AIDS. That's another disease to take a look at this week. Again, have a wonderful week. I will be in touch. Make sure you look for your forums to participate in and message me anytime, and we will be chatting soon.